way I've positioned my GoPro now, I can actually see my recording light.
Yeah, it's handy, isn't it? Whoa.
Yeah.
Still a bit distracted at times, but not too bad. I was going to film a little video today, but I got in a bit of a not a panic, but my luggage wouldn't sit on right.
Is that empty?
And I left.
Bag?
It's got my other tank bag in it.
Yeah, so this is what I was explaining to Tom. I think my bag's like flaccid. So like if I just put it on my bike empty, I think it would just sag everywhere. That's why I haven't put it on.
This does a little bit. There's not enough support when it's empty. So I've just put a bit of weight in there. Go on, dickhead, hurry up. So I can just so it's got something to hold on to.
Have you eaten?
Oh. Huh?
Have you eaten?
No.
Should we go to the B&Q cafe after?
Yeah, nice, yeah. Yeah, so I'm going to put my tank bag back on, because basically what happened was, I woke up and I'm fucking knackered, so, I said, right, I'll leave at 9, go for the scenic route back, round.
Yeah.
And,
I'll go in front, by the way.
I was all prepped, and then my luggage would go on. I was like, fuck's sake, what's going on here?
Fucking hell.
I know, and I forgot I didn't twist, like put it underneath the back of my racks. So that took like an extra 5 minutes, and then I was just faffing.
I mean, you're still early. Still 15 minutes yet until we're meant to.
Yeah, I suppose. And I got new earplugs as well.
Yeah, see, I've got mine now. They're on my keys. I haven't tried them yet.
Mate, they're unbelievable. I'll show you what I've got. They are solid, mate.
Yeah, I've got the Touring. Yeah, left. Yeah, I've got the Touring Alpine Star. So they do like a race one, which is.
Oh, that's what I've got.
Yeah, they're sick.
Yeah, well, they're Alpine. They're not Alpine Star.
Oh yeah, they might be Alpine.
They're just called Alpine.
Yeah.
But they're the ones I've got. I've got the Touring right now.
Yeah.
And I bought a duo pack, so you get the Tour and the race.
Yeah. The race is for like really high pitch, isn't it?
Yeah. Mate, the touring ones, they're fucking unbelievable.
Yeah, I
at 30, 40 miles an hour, there's not a single bit of noise.
No.
It's only up when you get to 50, 60, so it's a lot better. Mate, this fucking traffic.
I know, mate. Canterbury is like, it's been all over the residence group lately because of Little Bourne and that. But where's he going? Definitely giving him a level 2.
What that was then? I thought, who the fuck is that up at first? I'll get out first.
Yeah, no.
Hey! I know my luggage weighs like next to nothing, but it's not as wide as my bike. Thank you. Cheers, mate.
Come on, van. Yeah, Tom wants to go in on a big, like a crate of Red Bull as well. He said he'd have a third, which is handy.
Oh, okay, yeah, that'd be alright. Because we only need 5, really, don't we? So we need.
Yeah.
I think the 2 crates of, I don't know. Right, in Dublin, €6 for a Red Bull.
Yeah, it's fucking joke, isn't it? And that's the thing, like the petrol station prices for things like that will be expensive.
Yeah, I'll catch you up, so don't worry.
Oh, I fucking stalled it. Oh, mate. The thing is, the problem is, with all this traffic, people start getting so impatient, they start driving like fucking idiots.
Yeah. I'll catch you up in a bit.
Did you not filter?
Yeah, but I was stuck behind the lorry. Yeah, so €6. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. Starts adding up, doesn't it?
It does, man. One day I needed one, like, so I did a lot of walking. I was fucking knackered.
Yeah.
Well, I basically I did a 12-hour shift at work. So I was up at 5 AM, did a 12-hour shift, drove to the airport. Then we went to a pub, so I didn't get to bed until about 11:30.
Yeah, fucking hell.
But it's up at 2 o'clock.
Jesus. 2?
Yeah, because our flight.
Oh.
So then we had a really early flight, and then we couldn't check it till 4 o'clock, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, no.
So I was fucking knackered. And then the first day I was like, no, I'm not paying €6 for a fucking Red Bull.
No.
And then second day I was like, I'm gonna have to. I'm fucking dying here. Honestly.
Yeah, I love Dublin. It's good crack, innit?
Yeah, our fucking hotel was unbelievable as well. We were so lucky.
We stayed in like a hostel, but it was really nice. Like we all got our own rooms and got free breakfast, decent, had a good bar, they had a pool table.
Nice.
Yeah, we want to stay left lane.
Yeah. The hotel's probably the best hotel I've ever stayed in.
Really?
Yeah. So lucky, so lucky. But it's just we had like public transport, so the hotel was an hour away from the city centre.
All right.
So you know, add that on to the end of the day, at the start of the day, it just gets a bit tiring. We bought this tourist card. It's like €24.
Yeah.
But it's unlimited travel, basically.
Yeah, that's such a good idea.
Yeah, on the buses, trams, and like intercity link stuff.
This looks really nice now, the Kingsley. They spent millions on it.
Yeah, but it's quite expensive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Closed.
Yeah, another road that's closed in Canterbury. I never know where to park in this foundry because it's all like the bikes are out on the forecourt and there's like not much parking. There used to be a really nice food stand here, but that's shut down.
What did it?
Yeah. Got 2 women ran it and it was like, it's kind of like a Mexican style. You could still get like breakfasts and that.
I ain't got a camera on. What's it? But I'll break in there, go around. Fucking hell, there's more roadworks.
Yep. And then the road all the way down the end, you know, that goes over that railway crossing?
Yeah.
That's the whole road is shut all the way up to the top. There's roadworks up the like the road towards Littlebourne. Yeah, it's a fucking joke.
Get around there, shouldn't it? Ooh, bit tight. They're showing lorries, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the other thing, because I'm so used to riding on my own. Obviously, I took up like the position I want to, and obviously I didn't think about you, but I didn't want anyone coming up by the side of me.
Cool bike. Moto Guzzi.
Oh, babies! Whoa!
Oh yeah, it's trying to work out where to park in here.
Ah, so I can park it anywhere, mate. Hold on.
I'm going to do a full UE.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, it is open. Are you coming up my left?
He's going big, to be honest.
What do you need?
Nails.
Oh look, now there's a train.
Fine, way.
Yeah, so this road's shut all the way up to the top.
Crazy. I bet traffic system's not anymore.
So you had a good time in Dublin then?
Yes, mate, it was nice. It just got a little bit annoying with Alan Paul, but I'll tell you about that in a minute. But yeah, it's nice. It was not my idea of a holiday.
Yeah.
I like to be in the countryside and out the city and that.
Yeah.
But we did quite a lot. Jesus, something else. I think it's quite clear nice. I've ordered a stage 2 air filter on as well.
What, is that going to be before the trip or after?
It's coming Friday.
Oh, right, okay.
But my only hesitation is the biggest complaint is it makes the bike even louder.
Really?
Yeah.
What, from the air filter?
Well, it's an airbox mod, so it's stage 2. So basically, it's the original filter, but the box will change.
Yeah.
I think it lets more air in to just be louder, but we'll see.
So nice having a back brake again.
I've got to do my brake pads as well.
Oh. It's stalling, yeah. Well, that was like a really weird stall then. That wasn't like...
I'll go around that off. Nails and being cute.
Should let them sit. You going in B&Q first or after?
I might order the food then go in and get it.
Oh, right, okay. Right, hello everyone. Just stopped at the, I think Dale called it, is it the 4 mile? Petrol station or 7 mile, I can't remember. Apparently it's been quite a bad accident up there, up Stone Street. I wasn't planning on going up there anyway. I love to see people cutting corners. There's one in the ambulance. Apparently the air ambulance is having to come. So when I get back, so the new bike, as it were, the new old bike, I'm hoping to get into the full swing of that build. So I want to, I hate this road. I want to take the carbs off, completely rebuild the carbs, give them a really good clean down, all new seals on the carbs, maybe even new jets. I think you can buy a kit where you get all new seals and jets, which would be good. Completely drain the brakes, bleed them, refill them, new pads, auto sole and abrasive all over the chrome, buff that up, polish that up. What else would there be? And then there's a few things like the bolts of the seat need replacing. There's no rear foot pegs, so that's all a cost. Yeah, I'm going right here. So this is Littlebourne. Many a times I've been pissed in the woods up there. Big group of us camped in the woods a few times. Love Littlebourne. We're coming into Wingham after. Dad used to live in Wingham. We'll go past his house. His house is an old fight. Actually, cool story about Wingham. I don't know if we're going to go through Wingham, we're going to turn off at the right, but it was my second hoarding job that I ever did, was in Wingham. Won't say the guy's name, but he was a very interesting individual. I think I was contacted by like Age UK or something like that, and this chap had been in hospital for a while and he'd come back out, and they had obviously they had done an inspection on his house when they come back out, and he was in a sorry state. I mean, he had a bungalow, and why are we fucking slamming our brakes on? There's a cyclist. Yeah, so when I arrived to quote it, there was like just a sea of beer cans covering the floor, like up to your shin. Food packets, things like that. The kitchen was a bomb site. There was all feces all over his sofa. All like his door handles, and he was a nice guy. Like, he was a nice guy. I did really feel for him. Yeah, I did feel for him. And so it was me and one of my colleagues. Quite the job, yeah. So I said, one of the main things that I'm going to need hot water. You know, at the end of the day, you can't really bring that hot water. We turned up on the day, and I remember it was a scorching day. It was in the middle of summer, and he smoked indoors, and he had all of his windows shut. Turned up, and oh, hello mate, you know, thanks for coming. He said, I ain't got any hot water, I need to go and put some money on the meter. Oh, fuck's sake. And this guy was like, obviously he'd only just come out of hospital. He wasn't disabled, but he wasn't in a great way. I was like, right, okay, I'll get you some lecky basically, you know. And so I then drive to the next village in Ash, because there wasn't like a pay point here. So this is Wingham. My mum got married in Wingham as well. It was quite iconic in my life actually, Wingham. came back, had hot water, so we cracked on, and you know, and I remember on his little table, coffee table, there was just this ashtray, and honestly, like, there was a good like 4 or 5 inches of just ash piled up in this ashtray. I don't even know how he managed it. And I did ask AQK, I was like, can you not take him out for the day? And they was like, yeah, we can, but he's refusing to. I was like, fuck's sake. So normally that's like an indication to where, like, you know, they're going to sit there and basically watch it. And the only room we didn't touch was his bedroom, which was literally just a tiny room off the thing. So I said, look, mate, can you go and sit in there while we crack on? So he sat on the edge of his bed all day, just puffing on a fag. And he was telling me stories about how he was an pilot for the cartel, and he used to like low fly drugs, you know, through into the forest, land in like 100-meter long runways in the middle of the forest and that, and then lift up again. Then he told me he was a professional gamer, and at the time he had on his TV videos, like Call of Duty videos. Just bearing in mind this guy's like in his 60s, and he was telling me how he was how to drop shots, so the younger audience was out there. How to drop shot, how to keep your reticle placement and all that. He was a really interesting guy. There was a few other stories I can't remember. And I remember he had 2 bikes in the back of his garden. There were 2 like kind of like 125, like a Honda Cub, I think, and something else. And he could see, and I think I'd only recently actually just got this because it was just after COVID. And he said, oh, I could see you, you know, like eyeing up my bikes out the back. I said, well, do you want to buy one? And I didn't want to offend him, like, he was a nice guy, but I could tell, like, he could easily be pissed off. Oh, sorry, mate, like, I've already got a bike. I said, oh, have you got a missus? I said, yeah. I said, oh, yeah, here's a helmet for her. And I couldn't say no, like, I just couldn't bring myself to tell him, like, no, I don't want your dirty helmet. So I took his helmet and put it back in the van and tipped it up with it, and I just couldn't. I mean, it was fucked anyway, it wasn't like easy. And yeah, he was an interesting guy. And then just before we left, so actually, just to preface this, I said to him when I quoted it, I said, any valuables, please put them away. Like, so I said, everything that's on this floor, I said, I'll be thinking. You know, I'm not going through sitting with you going, oh, look this, look that, big hands, paper, you know. He said, yeah, of course, I'll dinner. So yeah, we're just finishing up. And I said, oh, where's my painting? What do you want about? So I had this like price of painting rolled up on the floor. And luckily, when I quoted it, I take a photo. I might even be able to find it if I'm honest. Or there's no one else. Fair enough, we've already done that earlier on in the video. But yeah, so I showed him these pictures. I said, can you point to me where this paintable can was? And he like pointed in some general direction on the picture. You can't see fuck all, it's a can cost or whatever. Oh yeah, alright. Like, you know, I'm not gonna have you take the piss. I said, look, I'll go through some of your bins, some of your rubbish bags. Never take the piss. And so my colleague, I left my colleague to basically spend the whole day in the kitchen while I did every other room. And about a week later, I get a message from the guy, and he said, oh, where's my toothbrush? I said, well, I don't know, mate. He said, well, it was on my windowsill in my kitchen. Oh, for fuck's sake. So I asked my colleague, yeah, I've been to it, you know, fuck, it's disgusting. And there was other toothbrushes there were like manual ones, and this one was like a cheap electric. So I had to replace that. And then when we was there cleaning, actually, I opened up he had like a little porchway, and I opened it up and there was like fucking boxes stuck to the ceiling. I was like, what the fuck is this? And he said, I don't really know, mate. He said, like, there's these people that keep coming to my door and just handing me these boxes. They're like food in there. And I later worked out that it was the COVID, like, vulnerable persons relief. So like they were dropping off boxes boxes of food and cans of food. And yeah, like I remember there was like, you know, like when potatoes sprout, but they were like a good like 3 foot long of these sprouts just coming out of these boxes. So I had to get rid of all of that, like the piles of food that was just wasted. Because he obviously never like cooked for himself or did anything like that. So yeah, that was a very interesting hoarder's job that I did. I did one in Dover with the same colleague. He's a good lad. That was quite an eerie job. Like the guy, I think it was the guy's family that contacted me. It wasn't so much a hoarder. I mean, his kitchen was, but it was like his house had fleas. They just needed a fucking good clean. Like, dust absolutely everywhere. So I had to go in and flea bomb it first. And I remember like you went in the front door and looked, the front room was on the right, but like down in like this pit was just really dark and dingy. And I can only describe it as just like the Jeffrey Dahmer style kitchen, just like utensils everywhere, really dark, like dirt and moldy. And yeah, my colleague was still there and I left him there. So I had to like sleep on thing, and then we had the carpet cleaner. Typically, like as shit like this does happen, get the carpet machine out the back of the van, plug it in, and the wire ends up coming out. So we were there until about midnight, trying to fix this carpet machine and get this job done, and it was just such a faff. Like I just couldn't wait to get out of there. I haven't done many hoarders jobs. I had a nice one in Canterbury, that wasn't too bad until I cleaned the whole place, had it looking spick and span. I was so proud. I think it was the same colleague then as well actually, and we was walking around and we could just smell like piss, human piss. I was like, well, we've cleaned everything, we've cleaned the carpets, I cleaned the sofas, properly carpet cleaned them, oh dear, and I could just still smell piss. And then I was like playing a game of hot and cold until I got close to this like armchair, and it really stank. And I lifted up this armchair, and underneath was just this bucket, like a builder's bucket almost, but like the bigger ones, like the big 10-litre one, just like 3/4 filled with piss, human piss, and oh, it stank. And where obviously this guy, all he did, what I think, was just like drag it out from behind him when he was sat in his armchair. There you go, Richborough Roman Fort. Just, you know, do his business over the side of his chair and then push it back behind him again. So that was an interesting one. Yeah, for some of you who don't know, I'm qualified in crime scene cleaning. I think I told a story before about the mattress behind the Lloyd's Bank. I think I said along this on there, but it was the Lloyd's Bank in Canterbury. Yeah, it's quite a hard business to get into down in this area. It's quite monopolised by big councils, giants, a lot of red tape. But yeah, I can do hoarders houses and things like that, and they are interesting. Long, hard days, usually hot and smelly, and, you know, quite unrewarding until you get to the end. But when you do get to the end, the difference you make, and the difference you make to people's lives as well. I think people live in these situations and you just can't, they get stuck. Second. What the hell, we going moist for these train tracks. I mean, not those, I'll have to opt out what that camera's for. Spooky roads, there's a big camber on them, they're very thin and you haven't got a lot of visibility, you just know there'll be some pleb whizzing through here in his like Renault Clio. Never ever been there, didn't even know it was here. I'm quite fascinated actually. So yeah, actually, I think I actually skewed off the story, but what I was interested in doing was maybe having a little history playlist, and you know, going to visit some local historic, you know, points of my county. Well, it doesn't even have to be my county, because I do love my history. Oh, there's school buses there. There we go. But I'll bring you back in a minute. Well, that was very interesting. So I'm sure I'll insert some clips. So that was Richborough Fort, or REUPLOAD as it was called by the Romans. And we said the Germans then. Germans never made it quite as far as Britain, did they? So I haven't got a whole lot of time, so I'm thinking I might go grab a quick coffee and a sandwich and then head back. But that was really interesting. So it was a sea fort for the Germans when they fucking Germans. So that was a sea fort for the Romans when they first landed here. It was originally like a military compound, and they built a big marble arch there. They reckon it was one of the biggest in the Roman Empire, which at that size could only be approved by the Roman Emperor. So 25 meters they reckon it stood tall, with a chariot on top, and it was described as kind of the entrance from the sea to the land in Britain. So obviously the Watling Street runs right up to the entrance of that. So Watling Street was the road I mentioned earlier that ran from the coast basically all the way through Canterbury up to London. And yeah, Watling Street cuts through that site that we was just on. And Yeah, and then later on in the Roman Empire, when they obviously progressed through Britain, they didn't need it so much as a staging post. It was more like a living area. It turned into a small village. Obviously grew. They knocked the big arch down, which is a shame. That would be pretty amazing to see. The Saxons used it for building materials. But there was an amphitheatre which is over the road. So they used to have, you know, gladiator fights and hunts staged in there. Yeah, really fascinating stuff. And that's what, 10 miles if that up the road from where I live. So you don't appreciate, or you don't realise the level of history that's just on your doorstep. You know, that was one of the main points where the Romans came in and invaded Britain and set up a staging post there and a military, you know, headquarters, and there's a lot of fortifications there. I think the wall stands over 10.5 meters tall. And there was like a little shop, as in a Roman shop, which you could still see the foundations of, that had a wooden veranda that overlooked the pathway, and you could see like the foundations for the pillars that would hold the wooden veranda up. Just fascinating stuff. I know that won't appeal to probably a lot of you, but it does to me, and it does to some, and I just appreciate, you know, the history of where we all came from. It cost me, so I bought the little booklet, paid for entry, and I bought a posh little drink, and that all came to £18.50. Whereas you can pay £7 a month to the English Heritage Foundation, and you get access to every single site in Britain for free with parking. So I don't know whether it'd be worth it. We have got a lot round here in terms of the castles. Reculver Castle, that was mentioned a lot there. Dover Castle, you know. So I would like to go and visit these, but I'm not sure you can actually film in a lot of them. And it's not like there's a whole lot to film, because obviously a lot of it is reading. You're reading a lot of like the boards and the signs, and you know, in the museum you'll see like all the trinkets, all those trinkets as well that were in the museum were all dug up from that site. So there's nothing that's not, you know, wasn't found there. Which was fascinating stuff, and there was some really ornate hairpins and Roman soldier like helmet decorations and things like that. I love all that stuff. I'm a real nerd at heart. I love my history. I just appreciate where we came from, and you know what people had to go through and live through to in the spot. Let's park it on the veg. That was a lovely, lovely little coffee in the villager sandwich. Used to come here as a kid with my dad His when he was working on the roads, his gang, you know, like squad leader. Fucking hell, that sounds pretty bad. Well, they are called gangs, like a gang of road workers. His boss lived out here on a boat, I think. Well, no, a caravan next to the boats. But I remember there being a pub in a boat somewhere around here, which is really cool. So yeah, I used to come here as a kid. There's a nice cafe actually somewhere around here. Proper builder's like greasy spoon, but it's nice. So yeah, that's my day done. Gonna head home now. I think we're going out for a cheeky pint tonight. Nothing crazy. And then tomorrow I think I might need to start with the old cleaning of the bike. Some of that stuff done. I don't want to leave it. I don't want to leave it too late and not get round to it. You know what I'm like, I'll leave it till last minute and then it'll be not a bodge job, but yeah, my indicator. But it won't be up to scratch, as it were. Oh, a real problem as well, the bike going into neutral lately. Come on, love. I just shut my visor and now I'm steaming up again. Come on, fucking hell. I'm gonna definitely give her some space, let her go. Someone let her out, please. Go, 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 go. Come on, come on. Fucking hell. Hopefully I can go through the village of Ash. See my granddad's old house. Got many of all of these in my youth. A lovely little village, Ash. Probably be quite disturbing for them with this bike rolling through, but oh well, they'll go over it. Actually got quite a cool story about an experience I had in this little house. So growing up, and still am, I was a big Star Wars fan. So this little white house here, definitely haunted if you believe in things like that. I was a big Star Wars fan, and at the time they brought out like this full figurine set, like you could get the ships and the, you know, all the figurines. Oh, it was so cool. And I remember it was I want to say it was my birthday. It was all sat in there. My granddad was like a very placid man. He didn't say a whole lot, very chilled, and but you know, I respected him massively. I loved my granddad, and I remember him saying, I got given my presents and I got like this one little figurine of like Anakin or something, and I was chuffed, like really chuffed. And I remember him saying, like, Tom, would you mind like taking the bins out? And I was like, yeah, of course. So I took the bins out, and well, no, sorry, I went to go to open the front door, and I opened the front door, and there was just a pile of presents, and it was all of the figurines, every single one you could get. It was amazing. That was so cool. Yeah, this is the village of Ash, tiny little village, basically out of it now. But yeah, that's where my granddad lived. And then you have the land. I will take you guys to the land, well, outside the land. I'd love to be able to get access and have a little look around. The dream is to one day potentially buy it back, or at least something very similar. And we're back on the main road. Probably going to end up being back behind this fucking learner driver. Oh, get on the bike. Got a private plate too. Been quite a bit of wind noise coming through the side of the helmet, but it only seems to be on one side, so I don't know if there's a bit of a connection issue with the visor, because that is the side that the visor popped out on as well on the last video. There's something else I need to look at. That's the problem, it's just never ending. I really want to get the audio kind of dialed in. I have messaged that Gringo guy, but obviously he's quite big, so he gets a lot of attention, but I'd really like to know like his kind of setup. Why is it touching my nose? Not sure what bike that is actually. Fucking hell, it's these lorries there. Oh, fucking hell. Got some Moto Guzzi. Fucking traffic through here is always awful. Oh, I like his boots. It's got like riding, like horse riding buttons on his boots. Getting much better with my rear brake control now. I've actually got a rear brake. Dragging that anchor as I was taught. Always seems like very counterintuitive, a lot of things that you do on bikes. For like slow speed manoeuvres and control, you just apply a bit of brake and it kind of, it almost like kind of forces the back wheel upright, like dragging an anchor. And yeah, it definitely does help. But he seems to put his right foot down a lot, which is kind of frowned upon, because you always want to be covering your back brake. Not that I'm judging, just learning, observing. So I can show you actually where my mum got married. I was her ring bearer. Little shaved head. Ooh, you bastard. In the dog inn pub. Sounds a bit rough, but it is a nice pub. I actually quoted another job down a little road down here. A little old lady definitely had like learning difficulties, and I went there and I met her, and her carer was there at the time. And I think it was down this one. And she had like 3 cats that lived in the house permanently, and she never let them out, and it fucking stank. Cat piss. So this is the pub. No, that's the pub. This is where my dad lived, in this house here. Big old firehouse. But yeah, I never did the job in the end. I actually kind of turned it down because it was too much work, and she didn't want to get out of the house, and she didn't want to pay for a skip and things like that, and it was just way too much. But she, I offered the work to somebody else, and she specifically requested me. Apparently she took a liking to me. She was a funny woman. No, I'm not going to go through Little Horn. I'm going to bomb down the A2, I think. Yeah. There's just a colossal amount of roadworks in Canterbury at the moment. It's actually, there's been a lot of posts on the residents group about just the incompetence of Canterbury and King County Council, because they always seem to be doing roadworks all at the same time, and they spent a year kind of pedestrianising, or whatever you want to call it, the Westgate Towers, and within like 4 weeks of it being open, the fucking apparently the water pipes or something underneath the road have all sunk, so they've had to dig it up, repair all of that. It's a joke. They've had a whole year to get this sorted. So yeah, like the traffic in the mornings, and especially like, you know, rush hour traffic, oh god, it's painful. It took me an hour and a half to do a 25-minute journey last week on a Friday. bike trip in a week. Actually got some stickers made for it, because probably cringy as that is, we have like an AI generated kind of emblem for the trip. We were going to get stickers made for that, but we thought that was even more cringy, so I changed it to like a more generic group kind of sticker. So I asked ChatGPT for some suggestions on names for our little like riding group, and the one that I ended up picking was TDT Touring Co. So Tom Dale Tom's Touring Co, which I thought was pretty funny. I'll put the picture up of what the sticker, so the actual image, and then I'll put stickers made of it. But I'm thinking about getting some stickers made of Nani Rides, the logo, because I saw you can get some really nice holographic ones. So, right, I've actually done the right thing for once and pulled over to change my battery, even though I'm like 5 minutes from the garage. But I can't remember if I unplugged the aux to take the GoPro off or if it was unplugged. So I'll find out when I come to edit this video if anything I was talking about back there was recorded, as in my voice. But I was most recently talking about riding gear. That is my next investment. I want some comfortable boots or trainers, whatever I can find, that are comfortable to walking off the bike. Timberlands aren't too bad, but they are heavy, and you know, they're alright for when you're on the bike like 70% of the day and 30% of the day you're walking around. But you know, we're going to be going to France, and I'm hoping to do quite a bit of walking and seeing the sights and things like that. So I am bringing trainers, which will be for the evening. But I think I'd like a mesh jacket. I've seen Dale's, saw one today at the foundry, and they do look nice. Quite thick mesh, and then obviously you've got your armour, so it seems ideal for the summer, because I am a big sweaty boy and I like as much airflow as I can get. So I think that's what I might look at, is a mesh jacket with armour in it. Need new gloves. These are alright for now, but I would like some new ones. And then trousers, I think I want to go for some textile ones next. These are very comfy, but for some reason I got them in long, and I've never ever worn long legged trousers, and for some reason I just thought that I'd need to get long ones of these. So I did, and I've rolled them up at the bottom, but they don't quite sit right on me. So they're comfortable for what they are, but I do want some. But then I'm also weighing up, like, do I wait until I get the Africa Twin? Because then I'm probably going to want to end up getting a lot of touring gear, which is like 3 times the price of 3 times the price of like normal gear. But it's like a lifetime investment, as long as you look after it, you know, it'll look after you. Right, here we have it, bike's back in the garage. This is how this one's looking. All the fairings off. I don't know if you've seen it like this. Airbox, tanks off, airbox is out, which is all up there. Yeah, next job was get the carbs off, which I've actually watched a YouTube video on, and apparently it's quite hard. There they are, 2 of them. So yeah, we are in. So thanks for watching, guys. I didn't want to just abruptly end it again, as I always do, so I thought I'd film the bike in the garage. But yeah, and I'll see you probably next time in France. Bye.